I know Jeff pretty well. He's a very responsible journalist. Thank God.
Thank God he was.
And thank God, because some other idiot maybe wouldn't have sat on this and done the responsible thing. But I think, to me, everything Van just said is correct, and I share those concerns. To me, the most alarming part of this is that we are hearing Mike Waltz and Donald Trump say, well, we learned our lesson. He learned a lesson. This is not an internship. No, I mean, I'm serious. The national security of our nation shouldn't be where we're doing on-the-job training. It shouldn't be where we're figuring it out as we go. If we can't trust our national security leaders to protect our national security from the second they get on the job, I have deep, deep concerns that go far beyond this mess that just happened.
So, yeah. Now we got Democrats that all of a sudden care about national security when they let over 21 million people across the border from all spectrums of the earth. Yeah, including from the countries that don't like us. There's terrorists that are plotting that live in this country right now because Democrats let them across our borders. But now they care about national security? Hypocrisy. Did they care about the private in-home email server that Hillary Clinton had, that once it was known public, she deleted everything, she destroyed it, and on top of taking sledgehammers to the email server, and then some type of, I don't know exactly what liquid, some type of acid or something was poured onto it so it could never be recovered. That could have possibly had an effect on national security since she was Secretary of State. But now y'all care about national security.
The idea today, the main thrust of the White House argument all day seemed to be Jeffrey Goldberg's still a bad guy, which explains how we managed to invite him on this group chat. And secondly, it maybe wasn't classified because Pete Hegseth sent it.
Yeah.
Is that satisfying? I mean, that really was the message today from the White House.
Yeah, and none of us have seen, what was supposedly war plans, and there's still a dispute over just how sensitive it really was. But I do think it's noteworthy that the White House is able to acknowledge a mistake, say they're going to learn from it, say they're trying to figure out the technical issues that led to it. I mean, they did own up to it. I mean, obviously there's been some rhetoric and hyperbole around Goldberg and others, who, by the way, I agree, acted responsibly in this particular case, even though if I have some quibbles with what he's done in the past.
She about to fly away with them eyelashes.
So I think that's actually kind of a refreshing thing for the government to say, okay, yes, effed up, we'll fix it, this won't happen again, especially when you
So to give this some context, here's what the deal is. There's an app called Signal that is encrypted end-to-end, which is secure, just like Apple iMessage or something like that, which means it's nearly impossible to hack, but no software is impossible to hack. The app was authorized by the Biden administration to use for government employees between each other because it has a decent high level of security. So what happened was a Trump deranged editor of a newspaper, Atlantic, was mistakenly put a part of a group chat by high-level Donald Trump cabinet members and officials, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, and some others. Now, the extent of this conversation, what I gathered when I read it was pretty much, are we on board with plans to go forward for bombing Yemen? That was about the extent of the conversation. I don't hear any war plans or strategic, or Yemen knew that the U.S. was going to do this. They don't know when. They don't know where this stuff was coming from. They didn't know where the bombing was going to start or anything like that. Now, me being in the military, These are some military plans. Okay, starting at 0200 hours, what we're going to position these on the right flank. And then once the actual campaign starts, we're going to move, 0 clicks west. That way we can get some of the fallout in case some of these people that and I'm saying certain things military, but I'm saying certain things civilian. So keep up. When the bad guys come our way, we will be able to neutralize them in this, that, and the other. Language like that is military. War plans. Asking the high cabinet members, well, are we pretty much in agreement with this? That's not war plans. And so these Democrats, of course, they're crashing out saying this is a threat to national security and people should be fired, this, that, and the other. Now, is it a serious thing? Because some war plans could have gotten out. So yes, someone should be held accountable. I'm not going to even say who. I'm going to wait over the next couple of days for this thing to kind of play out. But I mean, this thing will be a non-story in a week. It just happened a day or two ago. But just watch how these Democrats, they just crash out. And Donald Trump admitted, it was a slip, but there was no classified information given out. There's no so-called war plans that the Democrats are saying that they did, but I just pay attention to the crash outs that they do. And this lady right here, butterflies on. And what's going on here with the giant forehead? And the reason I say that is that this weave, that's not good for y'all. I mean times. We're going to have to bring attention to this type of stuff. Let's continue. And then, wait. Scott Jennings, the best person on CNN is this guy right here. Yeah, I mean, what he says makes sense.
Contrast it with previous military and national security snafus in our recent history in which no one was held accountable, no one was fired, no mistakes were admitted until the very end. Joe Biden was saying Afghanistan was a success. I like it here that Donald Trump, the president, said he's a good man, but he learned a lesson. That tells me he and the president with Waltz had a hard talk.
The information about targets, the weapons being used, the timing, that's not of concern?
Look, I don't have kids, but I feel like this is when you walk into a room and you told your kid, don't draw on the wall. And they drew on the wall and they have marker all over their face and all over their hand. And they're like, I didn't do it. Yes, you did. We're not stupid. You did it. And you're not really admitting. You're like, well, I'm sorry, but not really sorry.
Get to the point, lady.
We deserve better. Who is being held accountable? Who is running the investigation?
Well, Michael Waltz is running the investigation.
I know.
The president said today, Michael Waltz
That was kind of tongue-in-cheek, right?
He has to, because he's the one in control of it.
But he's the one who
Dick
made the
Cheney being
mistake.
the vice president.
You guys are acting like he ran out with a mask and robbed a bank. He obviously had a technical snafu, and he needs in his office to figure out how it happened.
But here's the thing. The thing is, don't be on Signal.
We know how it happened.
The technical.
Don't be on the app.
I've done this a lot of times. I've been on emails where I'm like, ooh, I wasn't supposed to be on that. I delete it, keep it moving, don't spread the tea. But what he did, but I don't work in the White House anymore. He should not have been on Signal for that to happen. There's a way to avoid the mistake.
And there's a reason. I think sometimes people at home are like, well, people break rules, blah, 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 blah. No. We have geopolitical adversaries that want this information so they can kill Americans. That's the gun to your head every day in the White House is what I'm doing. If I don't handle it right, can have devastating consequences. So you handle every piece of paper. You don't even throw stuff away. You put it in a burn bag so it can be burned. You are so terrified that you're going to do something to get Americans killed. So the idea that you have the Vice President of the United States on Signal?
I know.
Wow. That's nuts.
But John, look, they're doing the right thing in terms of acknowledging that an error occurred. You have to do that. Number two, you have to move forward with a comprehensive review of how did this occur.
And they are doing the right thing by acknowledging that it occurred, because you know what the previous administration would have done? They would have like it didn't happen. No big deal. Just like Afghanistan. It was great. 13 American soldiers died, but they withdraw and they left billions of dollars worth of equipment over there. But you know, we're just gonna sweep that under the rug. Hillary Clinton had a private email server. You know what? We just, you know, whatever. We're not gonna try to do anything about that. But something in the grand scheme of things, something as small or minute as this right here, as a group of high level officials pretty much saying, yeah, let's go forward with it. Oh, this, you know, this is the end of the world right here because it's Donald Trump involved. Donald, you know what? Donald Trump could be eating the ice cream. It could be some type of vanilla ice cream, right? And they will say Donald Trump is racist for not eating a chocolate ice cream. That's how bad these people have Trump derangement syndrome. It and I'm not exaggerating. It's really that bad. You let Donald Trump, they got on his case because he liked Diet Coke and burgers. Okay, I don't like Diet Coke, but I drink me a Mountain Dew, and who in the world don't like a burger? But they actually got on his case because he liked Diet Coke and burgers. I mean, you can look it up and find it for yourself. Is an example of how, number one, how evil these people they are, and how hypocritical they are. But they can be all gung-ho for everything, and dude, it's great. Soon as Donald Trump is on board with, nah, that's the worst thing in the world. Just like with a budget that they passed, it's called the CR, it's called the continuing resolution, which the Democrats were willing to shut down the government for. Well, you know what happened? While Joe Biden was still in office a few months, just a mere few months ago, all the Democrats were totally on board with the same CR. That's why it's called a continuing resolution, which is this has been passed. We're going to continue this for a certain amount of time. But no, when Donald Trump is on board with, nah, we willing to shut down the government as Democrats. No. It ended up passing. But just to give the example of who these people are.
And then you implement stricter communications protocols moving forward so that it doesn't happen again. Now, look, you can go from Democratic administrations to Republican administrations and find various issues as it pertains to intelligence. 1995 CIA disinformation controversy. Valerie Plame, where her name was accidentally leaked when it shouldn't have. Hillary Clinton and the 33,000 emails, and some of those
There we go with the emails.
Classified information on it. It shouldn't have occurred. And then to Scott's point, look at Joe Biden in Afghanistan. Every administration, Republican and Democrat alike, have had some type of snafu with something like this pertaining to highly classified information. We
like
correct
this,
it, we acknowledge it, and we move forward. And that's what the administration
But the difference is the
do.
people responsible now were yelling "lock her up."
That's right.
About those things, and
yeah.
they weren't right about that. They were right that she messed up, and I held her accountable as well. All of that was bad. But the hypocrisy is so rank. These very people are giddily firing people who know what they're doing. And should be there. And meanwhile, no one's going to be held accountable for this.
Also,
Here's the thing. Here's what the Democrats are saying that they don't realize that they're saying. They're saying someone's supposed to be held accountable for this national security threat. If they really believe that, they will want Hillary Clinton to be held accountable for it. If they believe what they're saying, they don't believe what they're saying. Just whatever it is that they figure is a Trump fuck up, that's what they're gonna go with. They won't acknowledge their own fuck ups. They never do it.
It's also
Democrats is like Hollywood. What Cat Williams said at the beginning of 2024, he said, the number one job of people in Hollywood who are doing all these nefarious things, he said, they are told to just act like it didn't happen. And that's what Democrats do. And that's why they're so on board with people in Hollywood.
there already are things. Like, we don't need to put new rules in place. There already are rules. They broke the rules. That's the thing. Two sets of rules, right? They were on a form of communication they should not have been on. They knew better and they did not do better. When you know better and you do not do better, you face consequences.
So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. The bottom line is there's more hypocrisy by the Democrats. So passionate about Trump makes a minor mistake. They're calling it war plans that was involved. They're calling it classified information, which it was neither. And I said it, or I'll say it again. I read it, I looked at it, the messages, and I surmised, not just because I'm a Trump supporter, because it's what makes sense to me. It's, are we all on board with this, these high level people? And that's pretty much what it was about. So if you don't fit it, I said, try to talk too fast. So if you're on Facebook, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. You can go to Mr. Info 5000 on YouTube and check out some stuff over there. Peace.